What's going on, Brendon? Thank you so much for taking some time to, sit and talk with us. It's always great to connect with you. Yourself, the certified team is always, top notch. So, we just got a great chance in the last couple months. We've been reconnecting, with alumni, reconnecting with, staff that have been teaching at CSC and just really excited about obviously the next step that's happening here in Ohio that we're finally getting adult use. And one thing that we wanted to do is say with all the things that have happened in the last 7 years on our journey and our journey that is intersected with each other, we're talking about for reflection. And you're one of the names, and obviously one of the individuals that always come up for us. And then you and I always had some good friendship, and then some good business dealings. So I appreciate you being able to go ahead and sit down with me a little bit today.
Yeah, of course, Kevin. It's my pleasure. I never thought we'd see the day where we were talking about rec. It seemed like it would never come, but here we are. Um, yeah, man, thanks for having me. Just always a pleasure talking to you guys at Cleveland School of Cannabis. You're a big part of my journey early on, and yeah, I'm excited to just dive into it.
100% right. Tell me about it, right? They've been it's kind of like that one meme, you know what I mean? You got to try harder than that. It's kind of felt like that for a while. And I think we've all tried pretty hard. And even to the last leg of the race.
Oh yeah,
I
here,
mean,
baby,
we're
we made it. We're doing it.
even down to the last leg of the race, man. But so, I would love to open up with just your transition into cannabis, right? What piqued your interest early on, and then kind of that access point to say, hey, this is something that I wanted to be in. So where did that journey start for you for cannabis? Where did it start piquing your interest around the plant?
Sure. Well, I got a couple funny stories on how I started off. I started dating this woman who's now my wife of 10 years. Her name is Simone. She was real fond of smoking some cannabis when I first met her. And I was kind of like looking in between jobs. I was doing bartending, I was doing the restaurant stuff, kind of just figuring out what my path would look like. So it just made me like kind of do a little deep dive into, how to grow the plant. Started off like everyone in their basement, just kind of learning by trial, by error, like messing everything up at first, not having the right filters, not having the right nutrients, just doing an ebb and flow system, a little 4x4 to start. Got a couple clones from the homies. Ended up being really good genetics. Didn't even know it yet. Like we had Death Star, the original Death Star from here. I had the Blueberry DJ Short to start, and I didn't even know what I had. So it started there. It kind of started with a love for Simone and then a love for the plant. So after cultivating for a little bit of time, I did notice just how much this plant impacts people from a mood alterator to helping with pain to helping, Simone's mom even has MS and helping her with that. So just really being able to help a lot of people close to me, a lot of friends and family, they were the only ones that were going to get my personal cannabis in the beginning. And that's kind of what fueled my fire to want to continue that in general was just all the benefits it shared.
So gotta ask. So how did you find out what you did have in the clothes? So how'd you find out?
People more experienced than myself that were close to me that were like, yo, B, like this is some absolute fire. What the hell? Where did you get this? And just some close friends that actually knew what was going on, honestly, that kind of educated me in that realm in the beginning.
Well, that's super dope that the first time out he actually got some good stuff.
Oh, man,
He's really had
I
he
was
really had to
spoiled without
connect.
knowing it, man. Man,
Mhm.
that Death Star, I'll never forget not treating it right, and it kind of it may have killed that one. And I'm still kicking myself, I think, to this day about that. So yeah,
It's a tough agreement because obviously, we have home grow as well. That's a part of, Ohio moving forward. What do you say to people like kind of that on that journey? What advice do you provide to people on that journey, on the home grow journey, kind of just on your own? Probably folks are probably not starting off where you started off, with some gas, all straight out the gate, what's some parts on that journey that you can kind of give some people some tidbits on that experience of really going in alone and what that was like?
yeah, sure. I mean, first off, it really isn't as easy as it looks. I mean, it really is a little bit of a labor of love. You do want to have a little bit of passion, or at least like a reason to growing the plant. it takes care and attention. It's a living organism. You have to show it the love that it deserves. You have to give it the attention it deserves. So I guess just first and foremost, just don't expect gold right off the bat, like that just doesn't happen. Even experienced people, it takes a while to really grow a really good plant, even in your, in your basement. Um, but with that being said, I do say like everyone go try it. I mean, it's so much fun. It's a it's my love language, and there's nothing like growing your own medicine and your own food. Quite honestly, I think those are two things that everyone should try.
So how long did it take, or how many cycles, right? So how many plants did it take for you to finally go ahead and get a good harvest where you were able to enjoy it with the boys and obviously your love, you know what I mean? That was a big catalyst and the next step for you. When y'all first sparked that up and said, this is good. How long did that take? How many tries?
Let's see here. I'm gonna be realistic. I'd say at least 3 rounds before I was like, all right, I think I know what the fuck I'm doing a little bit here, like it may have been pretty good just because of the genetics I was receiving, but by no means was like getting any kind of yield or, dialing in like the pH levels or giving it the right environment that it deserved. Not for at least I'd say 3 to 4 rounds.
That's what you round for round. So, just this and that's 9 months right there
Right.
in itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the reality. And still getting better at it every day, right? That's the whole situation, right? It's a living
Learning,
organism, right? So it's always got surprises.
learning every day, Kevin. Every single day, man. There's always something new with that. Yep, you got it.
So thinking about learning, right? So that transition for you. So started doing this and you're like, hey, this opportunity, Ohio takes, the first step. Says 2016, we're going medical. What was kind of the next step for you in seeking out? I wanted to kind of legitimize myself. I know, and that's when we got to interact in your time at CSC. What was that kind of transition point for you when you're like, hey, this could be my opportunity and I see a gateway? What was that like? And, making those decisions, especially as a couple as well, because you guys have been going at it together on this journey for quite some time.
That's a great question. I mean, honestly, I was doing that, for about maybe 5 to 8 years underground before really finding the Cleveland School of Cannabis to create that new step in my journey. For me, I was getting to an age where I was about done with just, doing it underground and networking and keeping things secret and it becomes a lot. It taxes you, and so my dad actually, I was very transparent with them about what I was doing and my love for the plant, and he saw a billboard of your guys's actually driving downtown Columbus area, and he was like, "Hey, Brendon, I saw this billboard and I think this might be something that, could further your career and give you the platform to do what you love." And, that was actually like the catalyst or the start of my journey with you guys, Kevin. So it was my dad that tipped me off to you guys.
Awesome, awesome. So how was that relationship with your parents? You were, I mean, I love that you were transparent with them. How was that? How did they take, when they first learned everything that you were doing, still underground, right? Before you saw that billboard.
It was a
You know,
it was a slow transition. I gave him bits and pieces slowly and built that trust up, I would
yeah,
say is how it worked. I was always really good with people. So like, keeping a network was my thing. I was really good at middlemaning. I was good at keeping relationships. I was good at the trust factor on things, but it just becomes too much after a while. And with my parents, with the trust, I just was like, I'm over it one day. I think it was just one day. I was just like, you know what? This is what I like to do. There's no harm in this. I've never harmed a
mhm,
single person. I've only been helping people. This is so ridiculous that I have to keep it a secret that I just decided not to anymore. I was like, this is just absolutely absurd that our culture deems a plant so dangerous, schedule one here, Kevin, like the most
yep,
scary thing on the planet here. While, I don't need to talk to the masses about all the things that are legal that shouldn't be, but
yep.
it was a no-brainer at the end of the day, and it was something I was ready to share, I think, more with the world and my family and, people close to me.
Now, I definitely want to follow up in a little bit about kind of what they think now, especially, right? Because it's always all right. I see the billboard, all right, you could do this legitly. To obviously the big, awesome things that you're doing now, but I want to lay out a little bit of that journey, right? Because I think yours is one of those awesome ones, right? And I love what you talked about is that I was always good at networking, right? I was always good at being trustworthy, right? I always showed up, all those intangibles. Because yes, you learned, you developed your personal skills, right? In cannabis, your love for the plant, trial and error, you became very good at it. You came to CSC, went ahead, learned more, legitimized yourself, got your network going, and then you started working for certified cultivators. That was your first gig, right? If I
That
don't
is,
miss
yeah.
it.
Yep,
Yep, yep, still same gig.
got it, man.
So what was the early career in certified cultivators, right? What was that? What were you doing? And what was the first opportunity that you were provided in the legal industry, all outside with the badge, smell like weed, get pulled over and say, hey, I'm doing it legally, the whole kit caboodle now. Now you got a badge to do what you've already been doing. What was the first job that you had?
Yeah, so the first job I officially had was I believe they called it, I mean, basically the cultivation manager. I think they had a different title for it, but I was
Mhm.
hired in as a cultivation manager. It was under 10 people at the time, so there's like two or three of us in the whole cultivation arena.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, I was it's out of Dayton, Ohio. So I was living in Columbus at the time. So I was driving an hour and 10 minutes one way to make this dream and passion work.
Mhm.
It was 6 days a week. It was, not enough people. It was not enough equipment. It was, I mean, the beginning was wild, man. It was,
Yeah.
like no, from top down, we're all learning, I guess is what I would say. And it wasn't for the faint of heart. We went through a couple partnerships that didn't work out in the beginning, ended up really benefiting the company as a whole. But there was a lot going on in that first 6 months at certified as the in that cultivation manager role for sure.
Almost sounds like you were back in the basement underground
Yeah,
again.
pretty much. I mean, honestly, they're still building out a building. CO2
Hmm.
and water
Yep,
lines
I
weren't
remember.
running yet, so we were using hoses. We were hand watering at that time. There's a lot of mayhem. It was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You learned a ton of things, but that was some hard work, dude. That was some in yeah. I don't know how to put it, but yeah, that was a challenging 6 months. But it's all part of the journey, Kevin, man.
Yeah.
Like wouldn't change it for anything.
Nah, I love that you bring that up, right? Because I think that's sometimes forgotten, right? Especially in our digital social media world where people like to tell the end of the road or or fake what their road actually looks like right now, right? But I love that being transparent and really saying, hey man, even getting into my dream career legally, still work that had to be done. I still had to commit 6 days a week to the 3 hour commute, right? And then hopefully no traffic, right? With that situation, right? If that, right? Understand that the business, even though, yes, great opportunity, was still a brand new business, a startup. So you're going through startup things, right? Technically, you're still a startup, right? You're still building the business out, right? At the
We
end of
are
the day, you're
very
not out
much
of
a
that phase
startup.
yet,
Yeah,
you
yeah, we
know?
are, and we're not an
So,
MSO. We didn't have like the
yep,
backing of financials like a lot of these bigger companies. We didn't
yep,
have the know-how from coming from other states and already doing it. So we really were a new group, a new unit, learning as we went. So
yep,
it's very,
exactly.
mhm.
So cultivation manager, 6 months, making it happen. Obviously, you've done that a lot, so obviously they had the right person. What was kind of the next steps in your career? What were some of the things as the organization is growing now, getting the best practices, getting the right partners right, getting the right staff in, all those types of things, the right product, all that type of stuff. What was that? What did that start to look like for you over the next 3-4 years? It really was for you, the sense of that growth. What did that start to look like? And what were some of the other opportunities and jobs you started to do in positions?
Yeah, sure. So after the cultivation, we did hire out and get a director of cultivation. Once we passed a couple rooms and had flower now to the market, we started with only 3 carts. We started with like 3 distillate carts. That was our sales. Like we had, I think, a grape, a Jack Herrera, and there was like one other flavor, and that was it, dude. We like
Mm,
crushed out 3 flavors. That's how we started. That's how we kept some revenue going. So we got that flower out about 6 months later. When we did, I just rose my hand and said, "Hey, I think it'd be really good at sales." Started off with kind of like more like a brand ambassador role, like going into the dispensaries, meeting people,
mm,
setting up tent, showing them the products, making relationships happen. And then that did develop into me being the full-time sales director after I'd say maybe another 6 months or so after doing that, which
Mm,
I held that title for about a year, before transitioning back to the building where I became the director of production, which is what I'm currently doing still. And I think my time at Certified has almost been like about 4 years, if
Awesome.
I'm correct on that
Awesome.
timeline.
No, awesome. So why'd you wanted to, did you see a gap or did you feel like, hey, well, I've kind of done sales majority of my life. I thought it was a good spot for me. So why was that? You said you raised your hand, right? And again, what I love that you're saying is that you did not just bring in your cannabis knowledge, you brought in all your other intangible skills because a lot of people forget that this is an industry and this is a business. And they need more than just cultivators, right? They need more than just any position, right? It's a whole entire business and it has a whole in operations that comes together to actually make to get it from seed to into my hand as a customer. So what made you want to jump back into the sales route?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was something I just knew I was naturally good at, and I was still searching myself for, I guess, like my
Mm,
best fit within the company. And I think after 6 months of that hard work, man, and it's not like your basement. It's not meant for everybody, dude. And
mm,
I think it wasn't necessarily meant for me long term. And I decided to do the sales route. Again, like you're in the car a lot at that period of time. It was again a startup phase of that. It was creating all the relationships, getting into the dispensaries. I got us into roughly, 50 of the 56 at that period of time, got us back into a couple, made those relationships. So a lot of hard work yet again, but really fulfilling. I really enjoy the strategy side of it. I enjoyed the relationship side of it. And then just like the product flow, just like being able to manage the strategy on, at that point in time, we didn't have much products. It was really like
mm.
trying to keep people happy, being honest. Like it was
Yeah,
just like, all right, everyone gets this much, or, like our better, well, all that kind of stuff really fuels my fire. I was a big chess player when I was younger. I really like strategy. And so that really like resonated with me, that piece of
nice,
the whole
nice,
uh,
nice, nice.
sales journey, I would say.
Yeah, you
But I
still
like
play
how you
chess?
said you need everyone from like you need like so many different people to make the company work. Because that's right, you need every mindset. Like we have compliance, we have regulatory positions, we have people that need to be outgoing in sales. You have the cultivation that are just hardcore hard work in your cleaning half the time and dial. It's just you need every
Yeah.
individual and at a high level, or else it's not going to work. Every director in our building is crushing it right now, or else it wouldn't be able to work. So
So how did you kind of balance that growth and what were some of the things that you were doing as new things were happening? How were you balancing that just overall, learning new things, obviously company, in personal life, company still in startup, so it's still not, at the most efficient it could be. How was that for you? How were you able to kind of balance all that?
that's a great question. Balance is key in life, Kevin, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't a whole lot of balance. There's a lot of putting in the effort in the beginning to put that energy towards achieving greatness in the workplace.
Mm,
It's kind of what I was gearing up towards, is what I really wanted, and it was what I was willing to do at that period of time. Now that we are a little bit more settled and we do have people crushing it in every department, and we have like a well-rounded team, the balance has come back into the social, personal, you
yeah.
know, life. Like I have a really well-balanced career, and outside of career life now. So but you have to put in the time. You got to put in the effort, or else you're not going to make it. In my opinion, you really got to put out that passion, that energy, that effort, to get there at times.
Yeah. And would you say, that's what, the ownership really saw as well? Because I'm assuming there's a lot of trust that they have within you. Because you can raise your hand for anything. Doesn't mean they're going to say yes, right? It seems like every time you raise your hand, it was a unanimous yes. We trust him, and let's see what he can do. And he wins every time. He scores every time. We give him the ball.
I appreciate that. Honestly, trust is built. You gotta lead with your actions. It's one thing to raise your hand and say I can do it. It's another thing to go out and execute it. So I think just after so much execution and hard work and passion and putting in those hours, it does lead to trust, and it has. And you're right though. You need trust at the highest level in these companies, or else it won't work. So trust is everything for sure.
So let's talk about some fun stuff, man. So Rick is finally here on the way, hopefully this summer, early
Yeah,
this
yeah,
summer.
right. That's yeah, maybe no.
Right, right. So we'll hold with bated breath that this thing is gonna get to the day that they've alluded to. So what are some products, man? What's some things that we're hoping to see now? Obviously, I know things will still be, there's obviously a wide range of products that Certified has on the shelves right now. So I'd love to, highlight some of those, but and anything new, any new cultivars, anything that sort that might be hitting, or some things that you all might be working on to allow us to taste soon enough.
Always working on new strains. We have a pheno hunt that runs 24/7. We usually do about 80 seeds in that pheno hunt room. It's kind of R&D room for us, but it's
Mhm.
continual. So we're always looking for that new fire. And honestly, we're like really diverse. We don't like pick like just, cookies or exotic Mike, or there's not like one particular individual that breeds seeds that we go with. We like to run the gambit and just a lot of it is just trial and error. It's just getting lucky at times with that right seed. Right now we have, I'd say maybe 5 to 6 winners that are going to come down in a couple days. One is a Mad Dog cross. It's a Mad Dog #1, but it looks like it's going to be over a 6 pound wet weight plant, which is kind of ridiculous
Yeah.
for the way we grow at Certified because we don't space them out a whole lot. And so for that to come in at around 6 pounds is quite wild. So we're always running new stuff, man. We got some modified cookies that hit recently. That's just fire. Tarantula. I mean, God, dude, I don't know. I could waste a lot of your time right now with saying how much I like our strains, but
Right.
not only that, dude, I mean, our edibles are like around #2 in the state right now, #1, #2, they kind of fluctuate around. Cannabis is right around there, like 2, 3, just fluctuates
Mhm.
around. And this is coming from Headset. So we've been a lot of good data points lately saying that we've been doing the right things in
Nice.
lab, kitchen, and in cultivation. So that's what I mean by the whole team crushing right now. I mean, everyone's really running a tight ship.
So I'm glad to hear it, and I'm always glad to taste it as well.
Yeah, yeah. The dopest product, the newest thing is the eye
Yeah,
crushers, man. We got this little
my
disposable
precious.
unit, liquid live diamonds, we're calling it.
Okay.
Edgar out of the lab, he's absolutely crushing it for us right now. He distills the terpenes in his own proprietary way. Comes out with
Okay.
this really clean product. But we have 1 grams and 2 grams right now. No one can find them because we're just not producing enough of them. But I
Mhm.
promise we'll produce more.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you said it on camera, so the promise must
Yeah,
be
yeah.
kept.
It's on there, man. It's recorded. We're done.
Uh, So moving back, let's jump back real quick. So dad finds out, mom finds out, family finds out, see the billboard, go to CSC, come out, get this career, moving all around, and now you're doing what you're doing at this level that you're doing it. And again, your team is killing it, right? You're killing it, your team is killing it. The accolades are there, the recognition is there, it's clear, the numbers are in, right? What's the conversation now in the holidays?
All positive, man. I mean, honestly, dude, it opened Pandora's box. We can talk
Really?
about just about anything nowadays. And honestly, it's changed their viewpoints towards it. They're not, my parents
Mhm.
were people that really consumed much cannabis in their days and grew up with Reagan and had their own preconceived notions. So they've come full circle. They're so supportive and they love talking about my passion. And yeah, it's been great, man. I don't know what else to
Great.
say.
Great to hear that. So, what does it look like for scalability and growth for certified, right? So, I know some new things coming down, dispensary about to open up. Give us a little bit about, things that to expect for certified outside of some fire products coming out. We know that's going to happen. It's always been the norm, even when you're watering the plants by hand, that situation. What's to come? What are some things that we going on? What areas and things of that sort? Give us some information about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really fun time right now for certified and for just Ohio in general with rec coming around the corner. We are here in July 1st for that to really open up. With that comes pre-rolls. So that's something we haven't been able to do with being a vaping market.
Hmm.
So that is something that I'm kind of heading up right now, and it's #1 priority for me. So knowing that we're going to have some pre-rolls in Ohio is one of the most exciting things I can talk about. But also, yeah, we have our first dispensary that will be open in Euclid in, I'd say, end of May, maybe early June, sometime in that time frame. We've been waiting a long time for that. We tried in the initial lottery. and we didn't win any. So that was a big low point for us, honestly. Put a lot of hard work and effort into trying to get one of those first rounds of dispensaries, and we just weren't picked. Our ticket wasn't picked. So we had to wait a little bit longer. But honestly, in the long run, strategy wise, I think it did benefit us that we didn't get that first one, because now we can actually pick and choose our locations. Where in the initial lottery, you kind of had to pick that beforehand. And
Yep.
get lucky basically
Yep.
with different multiple locations. So I think in the long term, it really benefited us, coming into it a little bit late and then hitting this time frame right before rec hits. Kind of a serendipitous kind of thing that just unfolded for certified. But
Yeah.
we plan on getting 8. We plan on next couple of years keep opening them. We want one in every major city here in Ohio. So Dayton, Cincy, Columbus, definitely will have a certified store within the next year or so.
Awesome. So is it you keeping the same name, because sometimes folks are like the cultivation is this, the extraction is this, and then the dispensary is this, from a marketing perspective. So we're keeping the same name, or we're gonna have to learn a new brand that's tied to you. What's gonna be the name of the dispensary?
Nah, certified is certified.
All
So we're
right.
just gonna keep it the same. We know most people like to change that up, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're pretty confident with our brand, and Zach really likes certified to just be the dispensary as well.
Nice, nice, nice. So where is the dispensary open, the first one? Where we're gonna be seeing you?
It's in Cleveland, man. We'll be in that Euclid area, so that'll be the first one. Hopefully, we see you guys there for the grand opening
Yeah.
and when rec hits and all that good stuff. But yeah, after that, it should be Dayton and Columbus, and then maybe Cincy.
Nice, 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 nice. Awesome, man. There's nothing but, congrats to yourself, congrats to your team as well. Obviously, the CSC family, you're part of that family and just, even your leadership as well. As really, it's always felt like just a great, great partnership, great friendships. And, I'm really excited, for your all next journey, really excited to continue to see the things that you continue to do and just being able to kind of share in that process with you. So you definitely see us on rec for sure. I want to appreciate you, Brendon, for taking some time just to talk about your journey, right? Give some insight, as folks are really starting to now understand that, Ohio is official. We've been playing in the JV, with medical for a while. Now we're ready for the full varsity run here to let this open up. And, what I would say, medical, it was all about making sure that people got access to cannabis, but it was still restricted for a lot of folks that are dealing with things. And recreational use, you can call it rec, you can call it adults, but all this means at this point now is the conditions that folks are dealing with that they know cannabis can help with their ailments. Now you can go ahead and make adult decisions. Now you can go ahead and start to learn how to grow. And really, as I love that you said, like have a more caring about this. When you're popping pills and you're doing different things, you're showing up to the CVS, you're showing up to your doctors, you don't know what it is. You don't really have all the information. You can Google search all you want. But when you can really literally grow something from start to finish, even if every single time you consume it, it's not something you've grown, you just have a lot more respect for it. You have a lot more knowledge for it, and you're just going to utilize it in a better way, right? So I'm just looking forward to seeing Ohio taking that step, and then continue looking forward to continuing to cross your paths with you, man. So I appreciate your time today, man, and I'll see you very very soon, man.
Hey, I appreciate you so much, Kevin. CSC, you guys are a fam, and I love our relationship. And thank you for having me today. Um, and yeah, Earth Medicine to the people. Let's go, baby. We did it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Awesome.